Hello and thanks for joining us from our studios in Israel. I'm Nittany Manson here with ILTV's Morning Briefing.
It's official. The World Health Organization has now declared the coronavirus outbreak a pandemic, in a move that's perhaps shocking many nations to take a stronger action against protecting the public. 100 Israelis have now been diagnosed with the coronavirus in the state of Israel, and 91 of them are in the hospital. Only 3 have already recovered from the disease. This latest uptick comes after the Israeli Health Ministry has just rolled out new restrictions to stop the spread of the virus. Public gatherings in Israel are now no longer allowed to have more than 100 people, which means as of now, Israelis are banned from going to most weddings and synagogue prayers. Schools are staying open for now, but universities should prepare for distance learning ahead of their possible closure. And anybody who has a fever or respiratory symptoms of any kind must now enter home quarantine until 48 hours after those symptoms have disappeared. The Defense Ministry has also announced that it will be extending closures of entry into Israel from the Gaza Strip and the West Bank city of Bethlehem in a bid to contain the virus. Hundreds of thousands of Israelis are currently in home quarantine, especially following the latest government order that every single person who has returned to Israel from abroad must enter 14 days of home quarantine. But when will the saga end? It doesn't seem to be anytime soon. Israeli Culture Minister Miri Regev has now announced that for the first time in Israeli history, Israel's Independence Day torch-lighting ceremony will be held without spectators. That's on April 28th, which is almost a month and a half away. As more and more restrictions are placed on the public amid the coronavirus outbreak, the Israeli government has now announced plans to supply just over $2.8 billion in so-called first aid to the Israeli economy. The funds will be used as either loans to businesses or a cash injection into the healthcare system and other necessary services to the public. An estimated $1.13 billion will be offered to Israeli businesses in the form of a low-interest loan. About $280 million will be used to strengthen the healthcare system, and another $280 million will be used to bolster services like the Israeli police, fire and rescue services, and the prison service. Financial support is also going to be provided separately for the struggling aviation industry, which includes flagship Israeli airlines like El Al, Israel, and Arkia. As of now, El Al has announced plans to place a whopping 80% of its 6,300 employees on unpaid leave, as the company expects to lose up to $160 million by April. Businesses applying for loans should be able to receive assistance from within 7 to 9 days. And the Israeli finance minister says there also may be additional steps taken to strengthen the National Insurance Institute, which is tasked with helping the elderly and a growing number of workers that are being laid off. Israel's services exports are expected to see losses of $535 million, and exports of goods are expected to see losses of $366 million. Luckily, government officials are relatively unconcerned about shortages in food and raw materials, since most imports to Israel arrive by sea, and Israel is well placed to be able to feed its population with local produce. As panic spreads amidst the coronavirus outbreak, there is some hope coming out of Israel. Is a vaccine for coronavirus just around the corner? That could be the case in Israel, where a vaccine for the virus is on track to be ready for testing within just a few weeks, although it likely won't be available for months because of lengthy bureaucratic testing and approval. The oral vaccine for adults and children could turn the disease into a very mild cold. The state-funded Migal Galilee Research Institute has been working for the last 4 years towards developing a vaccine that could be customized for various viruses, and it's now being adapted to focus on corona. Israel's science ministry made headlines last month when they said a vaccine could be just 3 months away, but the health ministry doesn't want to spread false hope. The vaccine will consist of a specially produced protein that needs to go through clinical testing for at least 30 days and then human trials for another 30 before going through the process of government approval. A solution to the virus is in dire need, especially given the new results from a U.S. study. Findings by Johns Hopkins University say that most people infected with the coronavirus will show symptoms within 5 days, and almost everyone will be symptomatic by day 12. But the big issue is that the virus is contagious before the symptoms even appear, making it extremely difficult for authorities to contain the pathogen in time.
And that's all for now. Follow us on Facebook at Israel English News and on Twitter at ILTV News. I'm Nittany Manson, and see you later with our main daily broadcast from Israel.